guys, welcome to another Thursday edition of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. My name is Nick. Today I had a whole different video set to be released. I actually had the premiere all set up on YouTube also. And then over the last, 24 or 48 hours, I've been seeing this a story kind of building momentum on social media. And it kind of popped up in the Vinyl Den Facebook group also. And we had a kind of, I think it was a civilized conversation about it. But I've seen it kind of grow into, maybe a little more heated arguments on other social media platforms. But I'm going to talk about the uproar about the new Adele 30 album. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click on that link down below and go check out the Vinyl Den Facebook group. I know I say it every episode, but it's just a cool place to continue the music conversation. There's also a couple other links down there. There's one for the Vinyl Den merch page. We got t-shirts and sweatshirts on there. Actually, I just uploaded some new t-shirt designs on there, so make sure you check that out. There's also a link for the Vinyl Den Patreon page. If you want to support the show, it's always greatly appreciated. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give it the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we release new episodes. So like I said at the top, I had a whole different topic all planned out for today. And then I started, like I said, I saw this, I think it was Variety that first reported that the new Adele album had a 500,000 copy run of the vinyl that's going to be available November 19th. And it seems to have led to a lot of people saying, well, this is one of the reasons why we're seeing these big delays. And I kind of wanted to throw it out there to the vinyl community as a whole to kind of get your take on it. So make sure you drop me a comment down below and let me know. I always enjoy these kind of conversations that we can have. But I think I kind of see it a little differently than some other people do in social media. First off, yeah, Adele is a huge artist. So Sony knows that she's going to sell a ton of albums. I forgot what the rundown of her record sales. I mean, she's always sold really well, but her first album, 19, that sold 6.5 million copies worldwide. Her second album, 21, sold 31 million copies worldwide. 25 sold 22 million copies worldwide. So they know 30 is going to be a big mover, and it's going to be a big seller. And so I kind of understand why, obviously, they wanted to have a big run of it. By the way, this is going to be available digitally on the 19th. It's also going to be available on vinyl, cassette, and CD. So there's going to be a big push, especially for the holiday season, for this new Adele album. So I think Sony's really kind of trying to get their ducks in order to have, to make sure that there's no shortages of the album. I will say that I did see before I started recording this that Apple announced that the new Adele album broke records for the most pre-downloaded album for Apple Music in its history. I believe Spotify also said it broke records on their platform also. So there's already this huge draw for this album. And I will admit that I have not listened to, I think there's one track that's been released off of 30 so far. I have not listened to it yet. I'm going to wait until the 19th when it gets released to stream it. I'll probably stream it before I decide to buy it or not. But I don't know. It's just it's really kind of interesting to see the world we live in right now with vinyl manufacturing. So I've seen a lot of people online kind of equate this to, this is one of the reasons why we're having these huge delays. I will say that 30 was done over 6 months ago. And, so Adele, to be able to meet this November 19th deadline, they had to start the production of these, months and months and months ago. I will say that Sony, as far as I know, I know that they announced in 2017 that they were going to be pressing vinyl in-house in their pressing plants in Japan. So I believe all this was actually produced or pressed in-house. So as far as like vinyl delays to other artists, unless you're a Sony artist, I don't think this caused any kind of delay. I know that's the other thing is, as far as a new release versus a reissue, labels are always going to prioritize a new release over a reissue, just because I think there's better margins in a new release. There's more draw to it. There's more hype to it than just, like the Dark Side of the Moon. This thing's been, repressed probably 400 times over the last, 50 years. So to do another pressing of that, what's the draw on that compared to a new Adele album? Like I said, she's a huge artist. They know this thing is going to sell really well. So I don't really know if pressing this album caused any delays to other artists. Like I said, outside of the Sony umbrella, because like I said, I'll post a copy of the article back from 2017 where they talked about this, and I haven't seen anything to say that they haven't or they have stopped producing their own vinyl album. So I don't know. I just don't see the big issue with this kind of these numbers being pressed for this album. One of the other things I found kind of interesting right off the top was that people were complaining about the 500,000 copy run of this Adele album, which it is a double LP, so you're talking a million copies or a million albums. But when Metallica did a 50,000 copy of their 6 LP box set earlier this year, I didn't hear the same kind of outrage. If you figure, 6 LPs, 50,000, there's 300,000 albums right there, not including the probably 50,000 to 100,000 copies of the standard remastered Black album. So you're talking an easy, 400 to 500,000 albums pressed. And I would assume that would kind of have the same issue that that this album would have, kind of causing people have the same feeling that's causing backlogs. It's pushing back other releases. Even though I think Metallica actually pressed that in-house also, so I'm not really sure. It's just it's kind of interesting to see where people's minds go on this topic, because vinyl delays are huge. I just got the new Mod Sun album, which is over my shoulder right here in the middle. That album came out in February, digitally, and I just got the vinyl version of it, a week or two back. So, yeah, you are seeing these huge delays in vinyl, and I think that's kind of the world not only we live in, but the kind of world we've always kind of lived in. When it comes to these big artists, they're always going to get these high number pressings, and, there's always going to be that kind of delay. Obviously, a 6-month delay is kind of excessive. But prior to the pandemic, or even before then, when Music to Be Murdered By came out by Eminem, what was that, 2 years ago? That was a 5-month delay, I want to say, to get that press. So, yeah, we've had these delays for a while now. And like I said, that's kind of the world we live in right now because of the huge draw of vinyl. The boom that we've had over the last couple of years, and we're going to see this. I think we're going to see these delays continue at least for the next couple of years until manufacturing kind of catches up to it. Another point that I always kind of find interesting is the fact that a vast majority of the albums we buy every year come from the same 10 pressing plants spread out across the world. But as of now, granted, this is the numbers I have are pre-pandemic, so I don't know if any of these pressing plants have closed over the course of the past year and a half or so. But, until recently, there were more than 80 pressing plants in the United States. There were another 20 pressing plants in Canada. There were over 80 pressing plants in Europe. There was another 20 pressing plants in Japan. So you've got, several hundred right there pressing plants spread out across the world, but we're really only using 10. Now, granted, a vast majority of those pressing plants can't handle the volume of, a bigger artist. A lot of those probably can't handle more than, a 1,500 count, maybe a 2,000 count run. So obviously they're not going to be pressing anything that's, 500,000 copies. But, I think it kind of goes back to, I'm not sure why some of these smaller pressing plants aren't utilized, by some of these more independent artists that are going to have a smaller run. I know I got Third Man Records, 45 minutes from me. Last time I looked into pressing an album there, I don't think it was a 6-month delay. I think it was a 4 or 5 month, which is still pretty long. But, I think there are other avenues to get albums pressed. I know MXPX, who is not a very big band, they just did a 13 album box set earlier this year. And yeah, there was some delays in it, but I want to say even that, getting that box set pressed was, and that came from Europe. I know they talked about it being shipped overseas. So I know it either came from Europe or came from Japan, but it wasn't pressed here in the United States. And I want to say that was only it seemed like a 5 or 6 month delay on that. So I'm not really sure kind of moving forward what the solution is. I know the other big issue, I guess my issue with, I will say this, my issue with the Adele album, the only thing I can kind of pick on is the fact that we are in a PVC shortage, across the world right now, and that's polyvinyl chloride is what records are made out of. So that's kind of the raw material end of it, I think, is where people can kind of have an argument with, yeah, we're having these shortages in raw materials, you're pressing 500,000 copies, or actually 1 million albums. So yeah, I can kind of see that side of the argument. Well, maybe that's kind of leading into the delays, but I think that actually leads a little bit more to price increases, because as the raw material, the availability of raw material goes down, the price goes up. So I think that kind of leads a little bit to the price increases. So I don't think that's really leading into the delays, but it's something. It's a big picture, and it's kind of it's not really a black and white kind of issue. I think moving forward, these are kind of the delays we're going to be experiencing for, like I said, at least the next couple of years. And the thing that I kind of find interesting about it is that bands are now delaying the release of their new music until the vinyl or CD version is available to be released. And I think that's kind of a smart move, because I think, if you put out an album digitally, in 1 month, and then the physical form of it isn't available for 6 or 7 months later, I think by then, a lot of albums kind of lose their steam. People have been streaming it for 6 months, and have listened to it multiple times, so maybe they're not as likely to pick up a copy of it on vinyl or on CD. So I think it kind of, like I said, it makes sense for artists to kind of delay, as much as it, I'm sure it stinks for artists to have an album all ready. Like I said, Adele's album has been ready for over 6 months. To have a product ready and then have no one be able to listen to it for, more than half of a year, it's got to be kind of difficult for an artist, for a band. But I can see benefits to that also. If you're an artist like Adele, that your concerts are going to sell really well. So you've got 6 months to kind of do concert prep, rehearsals, all sorts of different stuff. And then when your album drops November 19th, you can kind of hit the ground running and kind of do all your announcements. I'm not sure if she's going to do that or if that's the way they're going to run it, but that's what I would do, to have kind of everything in order, to announce all your concert dates. Let's get all the pre-sales up and let's go from album drop right into concerts. So that's going to be kind of interesting moving forward to see how all that plays out. But, with these delays, I guess, see some kind of benefit. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Like I said, I kind of see both sides of the argument with this Adele issue. Do I see it being a big issue that they're doing a 500,000 album run? No, because I really don't think it's really causing any kind of real delays outside of other Sony artists or other Sony albums. Where I can see an issue is, like I said, with kind of the demand for raw materials. Plus, when you have 500,000 albums pressed at a pressing plant, the pressing plant has to do all the manufacturing also. They're going to put the albums together. They're going to, the jackets all together. They're not just sending the 500,000, or in this case, 1 million records to the record company to have them kind of manufacture everything. So there's other processes that go into it than just pressing the album. So I can see delays in, because of raw materials and things like that, but I don't know. I guess I'm just not as upset about the numbers, because I know that was the other thing. I saw a couple of comments, not in the Vinyl Den Facebook group, but in other areas of Facebook. There were a couple people I saw were like, well, in 6 months, this is going to be in the dollar bin, which I don't see that happening. Because like I said, I read off the numbers of what Adele's other albums have done. They've all sold really well. I expect this one to sell really well also, even though I say it's like $35 or more in store. But, of that 500,000, it's going to be spread out pretty well. There's a bunch of different exclusives there. I know there's a Target exclusive. I know that there's an Amazon exclusive also. I'm sure there's probably an indie exclusive. There's a Walmart exclusive. There's going to be multiple variants of this album on top of the black version. So, I think it's going to be for sale pretty much everywhere, and you're going to see it a lot over the next couple of months. So, I don't know, drop me a comment, let me know what you guys think. I always welcome the conversation, but if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that like and subscribe button, and that's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.